as you can see, she's really starting to pop out of the canvas a little bit there. And it's just shaking a little bit, but it's all about contrast. If you want something to pop out and you've got a dark figure, you put a light contrast behind it, and that's what makes it pop out. Maybe put a little bit of that blue in there. Starting to dry out, keep the brush nice, and this is the good part, you can be a little bit more spontaneous. And I can be pretty rough here because I haven't come in and finished my highlights. See, I even put some of them background highlights in the hair, and the hair will come back in later and put the strands of hair in front of that once the paint gets a little bit tacky. Because if you try to do it too early, you'll end up with a pile of mud. Now the couch, she's sitting on a couch here, so I want to sort of create a little bit of contrast there. There we go. Fairly neutral colour. I might even put a bit of a shadow in there that she's casting. Actually, I need to darken that up a little bit because it's a little bit too light. You don't want subjects to sort of disappear into the background. There we go. Start a little bit of the couch there, down in here. And what I'll do is I'll take this away and I'll do a little bit more detail on the couch later. And it's coming out quite well. See, things are just roughed out. A little bit of a light highlight there. I'll cast a shadow back into that light. And as you can see, it looks a little rough, but it'll be refined later. That's the thing about portraits, you've got to sneak up on them. You can't go in and go straight for the kill straight away, it just won't happen. As you can see, that's coming out quite well. A little bit of a shadow under here because her arm is casting a shadow, and it opens up into the light. There we go. So I've kept fairly simple there actually, but it's surprisingly it'll kind of hard to see right now, but it will, after a bit of blending, a little bit of tweaking of the colours, it'll come out fine. And when we step back in, you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, welcome back. Well, as you can see, things have progressed quite a bit. After my last session, I went absolutely nuts, and just the background was driving me crazy. I just said, something's not right here. So I've gone in. The background was too warm because basically she's sitting on a couch that has got a warm colour. So, you know, scatterbrain as I is, I didn't put a nice cool colour behind her. So I've gone back in and put a nice cool blue, sort of a mauve colour behind it to sort of create a better contrast. And so now we're sort of closing in on the finish of this one, and basically it's all about just details, going over, basically doing all the finer stuff. So I'm only really working with 2 brushes today, and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to start doing some of her hair because the background is now sort of somewhat dry, so the paints won't mix together. I can come in here and start doing some of the individual streaks in her hair just to sort of give it a bit more sharpness to the portrait and make it jump out of the background a little bit more, just so it doesn't look like it's pasted on there. Just little strokes of hair, and it's all the little stuff that makes a big difference in the end. It might look, not look like I'm doing a whole lot, but it all helps in the end for the final effect. See little wisps of hair that stick up there, just so it's not so abrupt with the colours. And as you can see, it's really starting to look a bit more authentic there. A few streaks in her hair. It's got this really nice reddish toned streaks in her hair in places. And it's little stuff like that that makes a big difference. And I'm pretty happy with the result of this one. So if it's been, as fast as I've gone ahead and painted it, it's actually turned out quite well. I mean, I'm always refining stuff, but it comes to a point where you just say, okay, enough's enough, and time to hang the palette up and put the brushes down and check your work out. But it's it's always fun seeing the end. This is the fun part where you can sort of just sit there and play with it, and basically you've already got the look. You're just refining. And back in there. Now, as part of the show too, it's if there's anything that you think might be challenging for me, be it a person or a place that you think you might want to see me paint, don't hesitate to send in suggestions. There might be someone or some place that I couldn't think of that might be interested in the paint, and I'll see what I could do. Always up for a challenge. Yeah, that looks a lot better. A few streaks in the hair. Come back in here where the dress is. There's like a lot of little stuff in the dress here that needs to be detailed, like little creases on the edge of the couch here. Brings it out from the couch a little bit more. And I have other portraits. I have a lot of other portraits. And if you ever want to see any of my other stuff, if you just go online to my website, that's at www.jjswain.com. You'll see some of my previous work, including the President Obama portrait, the Steve Irwin portrait, and some of the press releases that have been done in the last couple of years. This one's been fun. I'm just about done with this one. I don't want to keep working it so that I create a mess again. But it's this has been fun, this one. Put a nice little bit of a definition behind her arm there. These are all just the final touches, just to make her jump out a little bit more. There we go. Well, you never know, she may see it. Hopefully she does. She's happy with the result. And thank you again for joining me. And I'll see you next portrait.